Hey guys, in this tutorial, in this section, we're going to talk about update and delete. And there's not too much to learn about basic updating and deleting. Basically, update will edit, you can edit a column, you can change a value, and you need to use a where clause so it knows where you want to change or delete this value. Alright, so let's go to I want to take a look at our products table. Alright, so let's say that we want to change this product, this Surface tablet. We want to change the name to, say, Microsoft Surface Tablet. So we can update this, we can update the name, and we need to say where something. So the best way to do this would be to say where ID equals 3. Alright, but we could say where name equals Surface Tablet. But the thing is, if we happen to have another product called Surface Tablet, and that's treated as a different product, that's going to be updated as well. So you should always use the foreign key when updating anything. Alright, and when you delete something, you want to make sure you use a unique ID, because if we delete, say, delete from products where price equals 300, that's a pretty stupid query, because it's going to delete everything that costs 300. Alright, so let's go ahead and run a couple queries here. Alright, so update syntax is pretty easy. We're just going to say update products, and we want to use the set keyword. Alright, so we say set, and we want the name of the column we want to change, which is name. So we'll say set name equals Microsoft Surface Tablet. Capital. Now this is what we want to change the name to. Alright, this isn't what we're looking for, it's what we want to change it to. And we could also change other values, but I'll do that in the next query. So we need to say where, and we could say where name equals Surface Tablet, which is fine in this case because we know that there's no other product with the name Surface Tablet, so that's fine. But when you're building your application, you want to make it so that you're using a unique ID or some kind of identifier instead of just a string of text. So the better way to do this, let's see, I want to see what ID that is. I believe it's 3. So products Surface Tablet is 3. Alright, so instead of this, we want to say where ID equals 3. And you'll build your application to do this automatically. Obviously, you're not going to type this in manually for when you're updating a row. So you want to just build your application to get it by the ID. Alright, if you are in fact for some reason writing manual queries and you know that there's no other fields with the name Surface Tablet, then that's fine. But that's usually not the case. Alright, so let's see what that does. It says 1 row affected. So if we go to our products, we now have a Microsoft Surface Tablet. Alright, so I want to do another update where we want to change multiple fields. So let's go to our customers. What I want to do is change this first customer, Sandy Williams. I want to change her first and last name as well as the email. Alright, so if we go back to store and then SQL, we'll say update customers set, and we want to change the first name. We'll change that to we'll say Michelle, and then we want a comma, and we want to put the next field, or the next column name, which will be last name, and we'll just say Smith. Alright, and then another comma, and we want to change the email. So the email we'll just say is michelle@gmail.com. Alright, now we want to put our where, which should be a unique identifier. In this case will be ID, and that'll be equal to 1. So if we click go, and then we go to customers, you can see that the user with the ID of 1 has changed the first name, last name, and email. Alright, so let's do a delete. Let's say that Harry Henderson is no longer a customer. He's moved on, he's dead, or whatever. We want to delete him from the system. So we need to know that his ID is 7. We don't want to delete everyone with the first name Harry, obviously, or even the last name, or any of these. We need to use the ID. Alright, so let's go to SQL, and we're going to say delete from customers. Now it's very, very important that you specify your where clause, and you want to use a unique identifier. Those are key things in doing any kind of delete, because you could mess up and delete your entire customers table, and you don't want to do that. Alright, so you want to make sure you say where ID is equal to whatever. Alright, in this case it's 7. So let's run that, and when you do this within PHPMyAdmin, you actually get a confirmation if you're doing any kind of delete. So we're going to say OK, and we can't delete it because we have a foreign key restraint. So what we need to do is delete Harry's address from the addresses table. Alright, so if we go to customer addresses, and let's see, the customer ID is 7, so this is his address here. So let's delete that. Let's rearrange this a little bit. We'll say delete from customer addresses where ID is equal, I'm sorry, see, I almost messed that up, where customer equals 7. Alright, so let's make sure that's gone. No customer 7. Alright, so now we should be able to delete Harry. Alright, so Harry should be gone. Alright, so that was actually a perfect example of relations and foreign keys. If you remember, when we set up the address and customer relationship, we chose restrict, which means that it won't delete, it's not going to delete the customer if the customer's address is still in the system. We could have chose cascade, which would have delete both automatically, or we could have chose no action and just left his address in there, which we don't want. Alright, so that's a good example of how these tables can relate to each other. But that's really it for update and delete. Next we'll look into joining tables and selecting data from multiple tables. In this section we're going to talk about aliases and table joins. Alright, so an alias is basically a temporary name that you can give to a table or a column heading. Alright, and the main reason for aliases, well, to me, the reason that I use them is for readability. You know, when you get your results, you can format your table names nicely, especially if if you're joining tables and two of them have a name column. You want to distinguish them from each other. Also, it makes it easier to write queries sometimes. If you have a really long query, you might want to say first name as F or last name as L, and then for the rest of your query you can just use F and L, which is which is easier. So let's get into it. If we go to our SQL window here, and we're going to start off with something simple. Alright, so we're just going to write a simple select statement. We're going to say select first name, and then we're going to use the as keyword. Alright, and we're going to say first name with quotes. The quotes are very important because this will not work if you don't have the quotes and you have a space. You could do away with the quotes and have it like this, but if you want a space, you need the quotes. Alright, so we're going to say select first name as a better first name, and then we're going to say last underscore name as quotes last space name. Alright, and then we can just say from customers. Alright, so let's run that. Now we got our results, and you'll notice that the table names up at the top are nicely formatted. Alright, so that's really the main purpose of what I just did. Alright, now what I want to show you is a table alias. These are columns, okay, so these are column aliases, and they're used to display. Table aliases are used usually for just easier to write. So let's say select, we're going to say select p dot name. Alright, and we're going to say pc dot name, and I'm sorry, well yeah, alright, p dot price. Alright, so basically I'm going to call the products table P. Alright, so I want to get the products table, the name column out of the products table. I'm using PC for product categories, so I want to get the product category table. And once again, P is going to stand for products, so I'm going to get the price out of the products table. Alright, we haven't defined that yet, but that's what we're going to do. Alright, so we're going to say from product categories as PC. Okay, so here we're using the as keyword in the from statement as opposed to up here with the column names. Alright, and then we're going to say comma products as P. Alright, and now this is the first time that we've selected multiple tables in one statement. Alright, and this isn't a join statement. Joins are used to unite tables, but you can do more with a join. But this will allow us to select columns from each table. So what we got to do is we need to create a where clause, and we just want to say where p dot category is equal to pc.id. Alright, so let me explain what this means. We're selecting the product name, the product price, and the product category name. Alright, now we need a link between these two tables, and that's where the where statement comes in. So the product category is the product ID. Alright, so that's going to link to the categories table ID field. Alright, so that's just like we did before with relationships. We're just writing in that relationship. Alright, so if we click go, let me just copy this in case I need it again. If we click go, now what it's doing here is it's displaying data from two tables. It's getting the name, the product here, this is all the product name. And then we have the category name from the categories table and the price from the products table. And that's the reason that I spaced it out like I did. I had the category in between the two products. That's what determines where these columns are placed, and I wanted the category in the middle row. Alright, now you can see that that's good and well, but look at the headings of the table. We have name and name. That's because the product table has a name column and the category the category table has a name column. So what we need to do is put those two, we need to use a table alias and a column alias all together. Alright, so let's do that. If we click on SQL, alright, so what we're going to do, I'm going to paste that back in, what we just did, except this time I'm going to add some aliases from within the column headings. Alright, so we're going to say p.name as product. I won't even put name, we'll just use product. So we actually don't need quotes there. Alright, so we're going to say pc.name as category, and then price as price. Alright. Everything else we can leave the same, but let's just order this by category. So we can say order by pc.name. Alright, so if we click go, now that looks a lot better. Alright, so we have the product heading here, looks much better, category, price, and we have it ordered according to category, which we can use filters and sort them out how we want. Alright, so that's the main reason for using aliases. So let's move on to joins. Alright, so let's go to the SQL here. And actually, before we even do that, I want to show you a web page that I found that's really helpful when trying to understand the different kinds of joins. Now, there's a few types of joins. The main type is inner join. Inner join is the most popular. It's what is usually used. But then we have left join and we have right join. And then here we have outer join. These we don't really need to pay attention to that much. Excluding just means it'll show the opposite of these. Okay, so we're going to focus on these three here, especially inner join, because that's the one that is mostly used. And you can see there's a visual representation here of each join and a nice explanation. So inner join, this is the simplest, most understood join and is the most common. This query will return all of the records in the left table, or table A, that have a matching record in the right table, table B. Alright, so this join is written as follows. Okay, so it's not complicated. We get select and then whatever we want to select from the table, and then we're going to say inner join another table, and then we're going to use the connection, all right, with the on keyword. Now left join, this query will return all of the records in the left table regardless of if there is any match in the right table. Alright, so it's going to return everything in the left table no matter what is in the B table. Right join will do the opposite. It will return all of the records in the right table even if there's no match in the left table. Alright, and I know this might sound like Chinese to you, but it's really easy once you get a hang of it. So let's actually copy this here. This is actually a nice little snippet. And let's paste that here. Now we're going to say what I want to do is I want to create a table that'll give us customer info. So it'll give us the customer name, first name and last name from the customer's table, and then I want it to give us the city that they live in, which is in the customer addresses table. So two different tables, so we need to join in one of them. Alright, so let's change this here. We're going to say select. Now we could use aliases here, but we can also just use the table name. So we can actually say customers dot first name, all right, and then customers dot last name, and we're going to select this. Oh, we need one more. We need our city, which is in customer addresses dot city. All right, and we're going to select from customers, and we're going to inner join customer addresses. And we need to figure out where these connect. They connect at customers.id is connected to customer addresses dot customer. Okay, so let's try and run that. Now we get our first name, last name, and the city they live in. So this is showing information from two different tables using an inner join. Now I want to show you where a left and right join differ from this, and I'm not going to use this example because in this example all the customers have an address. They're all in the customers table and they're all in the addresses table. So I want to use the junction table. Alright, so let's say select, and we'll just say all just to make this quicker. We'll say select all from customers, left join orders. Alright, now remember, not all of our customers have an order, so that's how we'll be able to see the difference between this. And I actually want to do an inner join first just so you can see. So we're going to inner join orders on customers.id and orders.customer. Alright, so if we run this, what we get is a table with all the customer information for every customer that's bought something. And we also have the from the orders table we have customer and product. So Michelle, she's here twice because she's bought two products. She's bought product 5 and product 12. Alright, so that's why she's shown twice, and that's fine as long as we have a primary key that's different, which we don't here because it's here in the order table. Alright, so this is kind of a jumbled, messed up table, but it shows you that it only selects customers that have made an order. Alright, so if we change that, if we change this here to a left join, it's going to give us every customer we have regardless as if they purchased anything. Alright, and you can see what they did was just nulled it out. So customers that have no purchases have a null. So you can see that the inner join is much more effective in a situation like this. If we do a right join instead of a left join, that would actually work in this case because it's only going to return if they have if there's an order. Alright, it's only going to return customers that have an order. So inner join is what you'll basically work with the most. Now what if we want to join 3 tables? Alright, so if we look at our structure, I want to join the customers table and the products table, and we need to know who purchased what, so that means we need the orders table. So we need those 3 tables, and we're going to select just certain information. We're not going to select all because that would give us a huge table with a bunch of columns, and we don't want that. We just want the important information. We'll get the customer's first and last name and the product. Alright, so let's say select, and we'll also use aliases in this as well. We'll say select C dot first name, C dot last name, and we want P dot name from customers C. Alright, so we're basically saying that C is customers, and then we're going to do inner join. We're going to inner join orders orders O on CID equals O dot customer. Alright, so we're just joining in orders, and we're given an alias of O, and we're joining it from the customer ID to the order customer. Alright, so those two tables will both have the customer ID. And let's just copy that. And we can change this here to products, and that's going to be represented as a P. And let's see, we want P.ID is going to be in the orders table as product. And let's put this in order by the customer's first name. So order by C dot first name. Alright, so inner join three tables. And let's look at our list here. So we have the first name, the last name, and the product that they bought, or the products. You can see that Michelle has bought 2 products. Alright, now let's do that same thing, but spiffy these names up a little bit, because we don't like that all lowercase underscore. So let's just do a simple alias, and we can do that by just going up here and saying as first name, and then here we can say as last name, and then P dot name we'll say as product. And there's no spaces needed here, it's one word, so we don't need quotes. And that looks a lot better. First name, last name, product. Alright, so that's how you can use different kinds of joins to join multiple tables together and basically make new tables. So it's very handy, very vital part of SQL. So next we'll look at some more advanced queries. We'll look at concat. We're going to look at lists and a couple other things. And then finally we'll build a small PHP application to deal with the database.